Welcome back to the channel. I know I haven't uploaded in a while, but it's been a lot that's been happening over the last several weeks, not least of which was what happened either yesterday or the day before, where some Somalian refugee in Ireland basically tried to murder some guy with a knife and tried to cut his head off in the middle of a street. And that kind of motivated me to make this video because, you know, of course, while the reaction of outrage is justified from the good people of Ireland, and, you know, of course the backlash is happening where they got riots going on in the streets and whatnot. Ultimately, I think the energy would be better served if it wasn't as much directed towards the government changing in some way, right? Being more, you know, directed towards, you know, kicking immigrants out, right? And deporting and that kind of thing, right? But where I think the energy would be better served is, well, actually, first, let me just talk about this real quick. Ultimately, the powers that be that really run stuff in this world, it's my estimation that they have a vested interest in there being chaos, and there being riots, and there being disorder on the streets, because then it gives them a justification to exist, and it gives them a justification to crack down on, you know, the general population, to institute martial law, to institute just a general, just, you know, crackdown, a totalitarian crackdown on the population, because it's, you know, it's a perfect excuse. Like, oh my gosh, look at all this chaos that's happening, right? You know, don't you want, you know, problem, reaction, solution. They're the ones that create the problem. The reaction happens, and then they pose as the saviors. They come in and they say, oh yeah, we're here to help. We're the government. We're here to help. We're going to fix this problem that we caused, right? So they want there to be these riots. They want there to be this chaos, because ultimately it serves them, right? It serves their purposes and their agenda. So what I think would be a better use of everybody's time, and however the population's to go about it, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I don't know all of the answers, obviously, right? But there's one thing that I think would ultimately benefit all of the good people of Ireland, if they had it, and they had a general proliferation of this one certain thing, and that's one of these, right? Had the bystanders who were, you know, filming the entire debacle of this poor man that was, you know, getting attacked by a knife, and you know, there's all kinds of news going on that some are saying he's in critical condition, some are saying that he's dead. If the bystanders that saw this going on, if one of them had one of these, and how they, you know, walked up and tried to intervene, warn the guy, say, hey, don't stab this dude, and then had he kept stabbing the dude, and this were to be used, then the guy would have survived, and he would have been, he probably would have lived another day and not have been in this critical condition, or maybe he would have been alive if he's dead now, right? So, yeah, spoiler, right? This is the thing that I think would benefit all people from Ireland and anybody in Europe to concealed carry like I'm doing, and like I do every single day almost whenever I go out into public. That would immediately put a stop to this sort of phenomenon going on. But Europe has been, as you may well know, been pretty much completely disarmed, and it's out of the question for even if people are able to acquire firearms, it's heavily regulated, it's heavily there's all kinds of restrictions, there's all kinds of paperwork they have to do, and pretty much no civilian is able to concealed carry like we are, like we're able to here in this country, in the U.S., right? And to the European brain, of course, for most people, if you are in fact European, my dear listener, you're probably going to react in sort of aversion to this idea, right? It's, oh my gosh, like this is the Wild West. Like, oh, you Americans, you have all these school shootings and all this fascination with guns. Like, I don't want my Europe to look like, I don't, right? And so on and so forth. And again, the thing that's vastly missing in this sort of mental process is any sort of positive view of individual liberty and the ability of people to retain their right to self-preservation, right, and the preservation of other human life in the form of having access to articles such as firearms. And this is the kind of mentality that basically is very, very conducive grounds towards this sort of a phenomenon happening of innocent people getting brutally murdered by, just savage, evil people. So what I think would be beneficial, and again, I don't know how it would be at all possible for the people of Ireland and their government, and any country in Europe, any country in Asia, in any country, right? Basically any country in the world, to change their society in such a way, short of course, abolishing their government, to have a society where everybody is indeed in charge of their self-preservation, right? But I do think that that's ultimately the goal. I think the ultimately society would greatly improve if people were able to carry upon their person articles which are used to defend life, right? But what that is going to take is a drastic shift in consciousness, because otherwise, just like the situation is now, you have these riots, you have these people in mass, throwing, major tantrums, but the problem remains essentially the same, right? Even if all of the migrants in Ireland were to be were to be deported back to where they came from, every single one, the issue of individual liberties and the right to life, liberty, and property would still be at stake, and would still be in danger perpetually if every single person was not able to acquire and to retain articles which enable them to defend their life, liberty, and property, right? And articles which are commensurate to that of any military, any sort of organization as such, which, if you were to look at throughout history, are typically the ones that are they're organizations that typically take away those rights and freedoms, unfortunately. So, if there's one thing I would like to leave you with, my dear listener, is perhaps the problem isn't necessarily, it's a problem, right? It's obviously a problem that there are these migrants that have flooded pretty much every country in Europe who are who just don't assimilate, and they take with them all kinds of very, very serious problems, namely like this one that I've just mentioned in this video. But this problem would be either mostly or greatly or completely alleviated if the general population of each European country was able to retain the right and the freedom to keep and bear arms. Thank you for watching.